If you know anything about Pro Siege, you know about Canadian. He's one of the most storied individuals in the history of the game, and his longtime team of Dark Zero has been a favorite amongst fans. They were a top team who consistently competed at the highest level, so when it came out that the team would be competing without Canadian, the shock sent ripples throughout the scene. The team turned to Nafe, an extraordinary import out of EU, who had already begun to make his mark, but replacing someone so renowned put him immediately under intense scrutiny. DZ were going to have to prove themselves, and in their first match of the stage, they found themselves up against a familiar face. Seeing one of the best players in Siege suddenly available, a floundering Sonics roster swooped in to pick him up. They saw immediate results as Canadian turned his new tenure into a stomp, beating DZ in a convincing 7-2 on the first day of the stage. But DZ were not defeated, far from it, as they bounced back, winning their 7 remaining games and closing out the stage in a dominant first place. Now, in playoffs, the two teams find themselves facing each other once again. The tension between them has been brewing this entire stage. The old versus the new, the upstarts versus the establishment, Dark Zero versus Sonics, Canadian versus Nafe. Dark Zero are defending basement on Chalet, playing an extension in kitchen and dining. In Siege, an extension entails an investment of utility into an area directly adjacent to site. They're intended to be an extra obstacle for the attackers to clear before moving on to the site itself. Think of it as a sort of mini objective. Not required to win the round, but not clearing it can be really problematic. See, the kitchen extension is designed to guard against a wine attack. On this bomb site, most teams try to plant right here behind the wine rack. But by positioning Bolo upstairs, he can prevent players walking into wine from the hatch. This, paired with a player in blue, completely denies the attacker's avenues into wine. So SQ start to formulate a plan. By sending Ambi through West Main, he will force Bolo to look at him, opening an opportunity for Grixer to jump in the trophy window. See, since Bolo can't look in 2 directions at once, this is a simple and effective way of removing him, giving SQ control of the hatch and enabling their execute. In the meantime, the rest of SQ have opened all the wine walls, giving them angles they can hold to keep DZ deep. Now, they have everything they need to attempt to plant. There's just one problem they still face. NJR is playing Clash, and from the safety behind the shield, he can feed info to his team to guide them in a retake. But Canadian has the tools to deal with him. By tossing an EMP at the shield and shooting fire back pillar, he can safely cross into sight while denying the retake from Connector. This should be an SQ round.
Final 30 seconds, and it's SQ knocking at the door of this bomb site. One toxic canister goes down in front of Rex, and he has no choice but to back up. And Canadian will charge on in to deal with the clash. Will SQ come out ahead, or does TZ go up 2-0?
I mean, at this point, I'm waiting for the close down against the back end of the players. They're looking to try and get the plant tucked in on the opposite side there. Surf is watching for that rotate, but it's a double down on the site and the kid itself. With Grixer being found, Surf have to take the drop on the hatch. They're going for the clash play, but the shotgun of Nafe.
In surprising fashion, Canadian makes a major mistake. Instead of planting where he had cover back pillar, he instead hops up onto the table exposed to blue. He's easily picked up by Kobe before DZ mop up the rest of the attack. DZ are defending kitchen with a vertical extension once again. Similar to last round, their goal is to force SQ to make the extended players move, lest plant be easily denied from the ample floor holes all across upstairs. SQ quickly take up to office and piano, but between the Tubby and the Cade, they're so late opening office that they're only able to turn their attention sight with less than a minute on the clock. Making matters worse, Bolo, like the dog he is, peeks out and one-taps Grixer, giving his team the advantage. Now, SQ are faced with an impossibility. They need to plant, but where? DZ maintain both vert control and a presence in sight. They have one smoke they can use to block some lines of sight, but no matter what they try, they're in for a rough time.
Canadian on call E. Let's see how this one goes.
He says with a laugh.
How does he do? Walking in, Ambi, the very first pick. Canadian slaughtered by Pamazoo, completely lost, looking the wrong way. A swing from above as Ambi and NJR trade out kills. Right now, numbers favoring Dark Zero. They are 1 kill over what we see from SQ. Rexon has the read on it. He's found an opening, and he will go for the plant with Ambi watching, but Bolo still has the spot above. Ambi, tucked in the corner, will get the diffuser, and it will be rushed upon by Nafe.
DZ are back defending basement, running the same setup as before, so SQ decide to try something different. Last time, they went wine and were completely shut out of the round, so their idea is to avoid that entirely. Instead, they want to open up front side and establish a presence inside fireplace, which will allow them to attempt a plant on the white shelf bottom main. Here, they can easily protect the planter by setting somebody on the hatch, another to hold blue, and a third to protect the retake from the rotate. The problem is getting to this position. See, this is the second purpose of the mirror upstairs. By setting a mirror window right here in dining, DZ can easily swing anybody around fireplace, making it impossible for an attacker to hold the hatch. The round starts, and SQ immediately open the snow wall to start their setup. Then, they use the Twitch to open the mirror in dining. This is already a masterclass out of the Sonics. They understand exactly what tools they need to counter this defense out of DZ. Now, with the mirror opened up, they can already move on to their execute, so they start sending players over to their final positions to make it happen. Canadian brings the blitz to go blue, aiming to force defenders back, such that they can't C4 the planter from the hall. He calls Ambi to fight with him, while the remainder of his team goes main, where the rest of the plan remains the same.
But look at Canadian breaking it down. Yeah, not taking chances here.
Not at all. It's a hard gun to control for Bolo, but a desperate attempt to do some serious damage. Pamazu got surf. Pamazu has been downed for his trouble. As Bolo still holds from above, Pamazu will crawl to safety, and the feet of the Blitz are spotted by Nave, who now needs to retreat. He softened up Canadian, but not enough damage to really make an impact. Ambi with two very fast kills, and Canadian rushes in, pulverizing Nave. NJR is the last one standing.
Canadian and Ambi apply so much pressure through blue, forcing the defense to give all the way into wine. In this situation, Canadian makes an excellent call, saying, screw the plant, let's go for kills. This is the perfect read, as the chaos of the Blitz fighting into sight, paired with DZ attempting to revive the downed Pamba, leads to an easy cleanup for the attack. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the video, and if you are, consider subscribing. It helps me out a ton and makes this channel much more sustainable. Enjoy the rest of the video. The sides have swapped, and SQ are defending bar and games. Their setup includes a cool little office extension with a rotate back to jungle they can use to contest space early on with very little downside. DZ decide to clear opposite over, opting to engage the extension and take across the whole top. They pair this with one player on the library balk to apply pressure to the back and prevent the defense from being able to turn all their attention towards office. Surf recognizes what's happening and decides to take a calculated risk. He knows that Bolo is all alone outside of library, so he jumps out the window to try and collect the isolated pick. He's easily taken out, but Ambi has gone undroned under the ego window, and as Nate opens it up, he's greeted by a sudden surprise staring him in the face. Now that everything has equalized, DZ need to try to crack open this defense, and there's hardly a player in the world that's better at doing so than Pambazu. So let's take a deep dive and look at how one of the best in the world works an entry. Pamba is playing Ying, and he's going to systematically use his candelas to close the distance between himself and SQ. His first flash banks off this pillar mez, which lands right on top of the frost he's trying to fight. This ensures Ambi can't be peeking him as he steps in front of the window. His second flash is to cover him closing the distance, landing again in the same spot, but supporting him jumping through the window and making his way all the way to Ambi's shield. The only problem is it's caught by a Wamai disc, but not to be dissuaded, Pamba recognizes this in real time, and instead of taking a disadvantaged engagement against the player behind the shield, he calmly continues to use his util to ensure he's favored in the fight. He easily takes out Frost, and having heard the call from Kobe there's a player blue stairs, he preps his fourth and final candela to force that defender to fall back. After single-handedly dismantling the entirety of SQ's upstairs presence, he immediately retreats, being unafraid to give ground, knowing that his job has now changed. He's done the hard part and taken all the space. Now, his job is to make sure SQ can't get a trade. Now, after having it all explained, I'll let you watch it back in real time so you can see just how impressive it all is. Keep an eye out for what we just talked about and how Pamba moves in such a way that he never exposes himself except when the opponents are blind.
As I said, we'll probably get the one usage. I would be surprised if it gets two. As the Candelas roll over, here's the first fight actually coming together. Ambi with the backed up shield and Rexon with the backed up player gets the kill. They're rolling out the blinds as much as they can. They're driving all the way in, get the execute on towards Ambi, try and keep rocking and rolling their way on towards catch at the top of blue stairs, revealed on the camera, hits the drop. Did they see where that loose player went?
It's some excellent play out of Pamba, but the round isn't over. Bolo catches Rex in swinging mud, giving DZ the advantage as they start to execute. But with low time and low utility, this round could still fall in anyone's favor.
Left to try and help them drive in this 3 versus 2. They've got 1 frag grenade, 3 flashes. It's going to have to be very direct behind what is now a call being put together, but Canadian wins out the first. Pamba's looking to try and follow them through. They have them not officially dead to rights, but stuck in a corner. Are they going to try and fight their way out? They are.
Whoa.
It's not going to go very well. Pamba gets the drop. There is at least a final player to find, and it's Grixer doing their best to hold on. 8 seconds, tucked round the corner. You've just got to take the engagement. The blind is on yourself. NJR still finds it.
What a clutch out of NJR. He's gotten his team 1 step closer to match point, but they're still 2 rounds away from winning. Now, they need to try and attack onto basement, and Nafe thinks he has a read. See, SQ aren't extending into dining, instead opting to reinforce the upstairs hatch. What this means is that DZ are free to ignore upstairs beyond just setting a player to make sure they don't get flanked. Ambi catches Bolo spawn peeking, but it's honestly okay for DZ. With the Chalet to clear Cades and the Thermite to open walls, they still have everything they need to hit site. They establish an entry upstairs and set nomads and drones for their flanks before moving on to open site walls. Now, with the long angle and trench walls open, Nafe wastes no time in sending it into sight. He figures, why wait? DZ have everything they need, so they immediately seize the opportunity and start to plant.
There goes the deployable shield as well. Nafe being so effective right now on this Kali, and the plant is going down. Gas not doing any damage whatsoever. There's an air jab to knock over Grixer. Sonics wanted this comeback to happen. They've now lost 1 player. The smoke, not the most devastating of margins. The coverage from DZ will need to be even better, as Ambi missing out on the opportunity originally catches NJR looking in the wrong way. Rexon on the diffuser, and the last 2 players from DZ will storm down in the same direction. Rexon, though, will get the diffuser as they waste time, and Sonic's time.
Somehow, Sonic's retake is unstoppable. They quickly kill everybody trench, leaving only Kobe and Pamba upstairs. But DZ never opened the hatch, and SQ can simply tuck him behind pillar as Canadian's clash stops them from preventing the defuse. The game has been pushed all the way into OT, and DZ find themselves on match point. They're 1 round away from beating SQ, sending them home the losers and flipping the script from the start of the season. But first, they need to win a basement attack. Sonics have been super successful on this site so far, so they aren't changing anything up, and recognizing that means a player isolated upstairs, DZ decide to bring along the Jackal. With his ability to track down roamers, DZ are quickly able to hunt down Ambi on the Vigil, but not before he takes someone with him. DZ lose the Dokkaebi, but at the end of the day, this is okay. Doke's job was to clear the roam, and now that her job is done, she's among the least impactful operators to lose. They've made good time too, and Sonics, sensing DZ starting to constrict their space, start to get a little antsy. This leads to Surf giving himself up through the hatch 2 floors above. Actually, I can't even blame him for that one. Either way, DZ have a whole minute remaining, plus the man advantage. This is their chance to shut Sonics down. If SQ can't battle back, that's it. They lose. What can they even do?
Canadian's application with that shield will be slightly weakened as they are outnumbered quite so heavily. Down goes Bolos. The numbers will equalize. The shield will be spotted by NJR as it's up to him, Pambazoo, and Kobe Lax. Pambazoo has 14 kills, by the way, since coming back from our last rehost. Rexon slaughtering NJR from that gaping maw that is none other than the opening breach. Last one alive is Pambazoo. Hold on a second. 4 kills to his name. He's got 5 seconds to find Grixer and get the diffuser down. Grixer tucked away over in wine. Pambazoo just won't get there in time. And based on the clock, Sonics win it.
Thanks again to Raid for their support in this video. Sign up today using my link in the description and take on the challenges of the Asgard Divide today.